So John, while you're known for being involved in the first build of the very first Ryanair website while you were still in school or a teenager, before that you actually started a company that went on to create 50 jobs. Tell us a bit about that.
That's right. I founded my first company when I was 16. It was a transition year project for the mini company in school, and it was a web design company called Adrenaline, and that was actually the company that went on to build the Ryanair.com site when I was sitting my leaving cert. But it was funny, I suppose, in some ways. The company that I set up for mini company, for the actual school project, I think we made something like 2,000 times more profit than the lads who were selling pens, but actually failed the class because of an accounting error. So ever since then, I've known to hire an accountant to do my books, but it was, I suppose, an unfortunate but relatively cheap lesson at the time that I learned early,
And the Ryanair website, I mean, from talking to you, you seem to be quite modest about the impact of the site that you had built at the time for Ryanair. But as I point out, it was not only one of the most successful websites at the time to be built for Ireland that most Irish people would go on to use, but it was important in a European sense because it helped people travel across Europe at a time when low-cost airline flights were becoming available. So it's quite a big contribution, I think, to the digital space. But how did it come about? How did you end up as a Leaving Cert student building a website that would probably go on to process millions, if not billions, of euros in airline flights?
Well, I've only ever had one job, and it was working in Gateway 2000. And it was part of that was part of my job was to build the extranet between the different areas in Gateway, and there was Sioux City, Iowa, Dublin and Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And part of my work was to liaise with different directors, one of whom was the director of HR, who is a guy called Eddie Wilson, who went on then to be working as a director in HR in Ryanair. So when Ryanair went to build their site originally, they were getting quotes of ridiculous amounts, £3.5 million or punts at the time. It was crazy. And this was unacceptable to management, as you can imagine. And Eddie just gave me a call and said, would you like to come in and talk to us about this, knowing that I had some expertise in this area. I did that after school one day. I went in jeans and a t-shirt, and nowadays I'd probably put on a jacket, but at the time I think they actually appreciated this kid basically coming in jeans and a t-shirt. It was very much in keeping with the Ryanair ethos, I suppose. And I talked to them about what they were trying to do, then went away, put together a proposal and a quote. It was for less than €20,000. It was about 16,000 pounds. And they said yes. There was so little risk in it for them relative to spending the millions that they were being quoted elsewhere. It was a complete no-brainer in many ways. But it was good money, very good money for myself and Tom, the guy who was working with me at the time. And it really served as a platform and a big break for us because, here we are 15 years later still talking about it. So it was great to be able to do.
And in terms of the intervening years, because you stayed a course, Adrenaline gave way to a number of other companies and other ventures, and you're starting up more companies as a result even today. Tell us a bit about what you did in those intervening years, how a schoolboy project gave way to a company employing 50 people and another startup today that could employ more people.
Yeah, we found, after I left school, I decided not to go to college, and I set up with a former colleague, again from Gateway, in Malaysia. We set up an early outsourcing operation to build websites, and I sold that in 2008. Didn't make a huge amount of money from it, unfortunately, but it was an early outsourced business where we would have the sales and marketing here in Ireland and the developers down there. It was a great business. We built some great sites, and we had a good run. But really, what I wanted to focus more on was building more complex, more high achieving, if you like, projects and sites. So when I sold that, I partnered with a guy called Kieran Dundon, and we founded Eirtight Technology. So that's an enterprise software development company which is still running and is thankfully going quite well. We got through a few difficult years, and thankfully. And this year, in 2013, then we founded ChannelSight as a spin-off of that. Funnily enough, again, with a former colleague of mine from Gateway who got in touch with an idea he had. So I now focus on running ChannelSight. That's my main interest and taking up all of my time. And ChannelSight is a really cool company. We're an e-commerce enablement company. So we work with very large brands like Mondelez, that would be Philadelphia, Cadbury, Oreo, those kind of very large international brands, to e-commerce enable all of their digital media assets. So it involves putting a buy now button on their various, whether it's a Facebook post or a product page on their brand website. And when the user clicks on that, they can see instantly retailers that have that item in stock, will ship it to them, they can look at pricing. So it shortens the buying journey, it removes friction from the buying journey, and it generates really cool data around how the brand's other advertising is working and how effective it is. And so it's a really exciting business, and we're expanding really quickly. So it's really something that I don't mind getting out of bed in the morning to work on. It's great.
And what's your current drive? I mean, because you seem to be great at starting things up, and do you plan to continue to stay in technology, building this business up? Obviously, what would be the other goals you have now that you've got a pretty good resume and great experiences and experiences? But what would be the next challenge you'd like to take on?
Well, I suppose my plate is very full with ChannelSight at the moment, and it will be for the foreseeable future, I think. But I have a real love of startups. I love supporting through mentoring and otherwise startups in Ireland and beyond. And I can see myself eventually, I suppose, moving into that area as maybe in a more formal role, whether through supporting them with investment or other supports. And I think I'd have a particular interest, I suppose, as well in moving into the social entrepreneurship area, because I love what people like Philip Berber have done. I'd be a huge fan of his, and he took an idea, built his technology business, made some money from that, and then took the idea of microfinance and went off and built a very successful organization around that, a glimmer of hope, and now he's doing other things. So I suppose, yes, I enjoy starting and building things, but I think being on the cutting edge and really taking then the things that I know and experiences that I've had and helping other Irish companies and startups, but also with a particular focus on the social side, seeing what I could do there. I think I could certainly see myself moving into that area.
John, thank you very much.
Thank you.